I'm Alison. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Alison Nissen, and I have been writing for about 8 years. My background is in English literature, and I've been a composition instructor and an editor and many, many things, but I've spent concentrated time writing for about the last 8 years. One of the biggest challenges I had was writing my own bio. We all feel uncomfortable talking about ourselves, bragging about ourselves, and that's what your bio is. It's something to draw people in. How do we stand out above the crowd? So there are 32.8 million books on Amazon today. There are 321 million active Twitter users. There are 6 million active blogs. I'm sorry, 600 million active blogs. And 1 billion active users on both Facebook and Instagram. There is a lot of noise out there, and how do you stand out? Well, one of the things we do when we, as consumers, we look at the book titles, we look at book covers, we look at the first few pages of a book, and we also look at the author's bio. The author bio is one of the most important things you could possibly do. So even though we're uncomfortable bragging about ourselves, that's what we need to do. Now, I want us to all go around and introduce ourselves, but before we do, I want you to take a moment and I want you to think about two things, because I want you to include these in your own personal introduction. One thing that is unexpected that we don't know, and one thing that is something that relates to our writing work. So two things, one that is unexpected, and one thing as to why we are the expert at what we know when we're writing. Start with Ted? No? All right, so let's take a minute. And when you're all done, just kind of look up at me and I'll know that we're ready.
Two things. First one, something that nobody knows, and the second is
something that makes you an authority for what you're writing.
I can do it.
All right.
I feel like I'm in a poker game and I'm putting out a bid. Right? Okay.
Popcorn.
My name is Diane Teichman. I'm a hot air balloonist.
That is unexpected. Yes, very good.
For 40 years, I have been a licensed court interpreter, interpreting the worst day or the best day or the most impacting day of people's experiences. Under oath, I can go to jail if I make a mistake. I'm writing about the experiences where I'm placed in order to follow those laws. It could be a minefield in a civil war. It could be a hilltop town in El Salvador, or it could be platform of a boat in the shipwreck.
Thank
That was
you.
long.
That's all right. Thank you.
Oh, I got a reward.
Can we say something?
Perfect timing. Yeah, let's see. You got to judge.
I'm Patricia Williams, and I'm at least thinking at this point about writing a book about Alzheimer's. My mother had Alzheimer's. My family, it runs rampant. I may be getting it, who knows. And I was the person, the caregiver, etc. So I know quite a bit about it, and I've been gathering information. I was also head of the cross-university writing program for Sam Houston State University and the Writing Center. I'm professor emerita at Sam Houston State, and I've published about 90 publications so far.
Wow.
Wow. In what genre?
Namely with education and stuff, I've written several books. Now thinking about, okay, I've gathered all this information, and now what I keep hitting is get an agent, and I really don't want an agent. But I know you have to. I mean,
You don't have to do anything you don't want to today.
I know. It's just so crazy. So that's one of the reasons I'm here. I'm also, and maybe all of you can help me with this, I'm speaking to the doctoral students at U of H Clear Lake about how to write their dissertation and how to write. And that's coming up on November the 7th, and I'm going to speak for an hour and a half.
Ooh.
So any suggestions you have to let them know, okay, how do you write your materials, your dissertation, etc.
Their dissertations are fiction, right?
Oftentimes, yes.
How about fictionalizing your dissertation?
So I'm trying to think of ideas from other people too, to give them tips on how to do this for an hour and a half after a big dinner.
All right.
I'm quitting.
All right.
Interesting about myself. Let's see here. I never graduated high school, never went to high school. Got a bachelor's and master's degree of science, and I'm working on writing my first novel. I guess that's interesting.
And what name do you go by nowadays?
Writing, Alan R. Knight. Normally, just on the streets, Kevin. Kevin Williamson.
Okay. Well, I'm Sylvia McNeil, and I've moved 8 different times. This is my 8th move, and I've been here a year. And probably the most interesting thing that nobody would ever know is that I actually jumped out of a perfectly good airplane. Skydiver! Had a great time doing it. I do it again. I'm writing, I'm working on writing. But I do have a collection of short stories that I have written over several years that I'm currently trying to put together into one collection. I like short stories because they're easier for me to write. I have friends that tell me that is the most difficult thing for them to write. So it's kind of one of those things. I tell a good story. I always tell people I can tell a good story, but they're not lies. Because everybody's like, that's a lie. I'm like, no, it's not. Sorry.
All right.
Okay, oldest of 9 kids, 5 college degrees, all in different subjects, 7 professional certifications, 31 years in the military, 61 countries I've traveled to. Unexpected, I spent a night on the president's yacht in Venezuela a few years ago.
Spend the night on the
On
president?
his yacht, yes.
Oh.
Not on the president, on the yacht.
That's a
Five-
different story.
Totally different, yes.
That's the non-fiction part.
That's unexpected.
Written 5 books. I research what goes on in the human body at the cellular level, biochemically speaking. I look for cause and effect relationships. I look for things that you can prevent or inhibit. If you treat symptoms, you'll always treat symptoms. You got to treat the cause to get rid of a problem, and that's what I identify. I speak to that. I write on that. That's what I do. I also publish books for people.
Cool. Thank you. Hi, I'm Sean, and in any second now I run away. Is that unexpected?
That's unexpected?
Head on a swivel. So I brought a couple of mine, and I like that you started with that because I think in at least 2 out of them, I had something expected. So the short one I know, and the other one that's longer. Not a lot of times. Sometimes you'll see author bios, and they will list a list of ridiculous jobs. So, mine is something like, having worked as a photography teacher, butcher, cartoonist, waiter, art critic, farmhand, vintage fashion grader, and sign painter. The short one, which is in another one, is was born in an Amish town in New York coal country.
Oh, I like
So
that.
that's very descriptive.
Very,
right?
very unexpected. Yes.
Wouldn't it have been better to be born on the show?
I'm very glad, because otherwise I wouldn't have gotten out of that town. I tell you what. But the next thing of what makes you a expert, in what you're trying to do, and I missed yours because I wonder with the fantasy, what would make you an expert on that? Like I cosplayed for 10 years or
An
something.
insane life.
There you go. Okay. And so but it gave me an idea, which is to say I've done I've lived in Houston and gotten more of an education from the city than anything else. And in looking into the beginning of this, basically used the fact that I have a restaurant and can trade people for crepes, or I already know people as regulars to do a lot of extensive interviews with people like a developer, a meteorologist, a lawyer, a reporter about what Houston is going to look like 30 years from now.
Interesting.
So that might work.
It will work.
Yeah.
Not to mention 5 years in Japan as a chef.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, no, I love that. When somebody once wrote an article that was like, Sean spent 2 months in Paris learning how to make crepes, and I was like, I'm not going to correct you.
Rob?
Okay, this is quite nerve-wracking for me, and I'm not usually a nervous person. And this is 78 words, so this is my bio. My job was to convince my company to take risks on products. On one occasion, I was required to develop the product. To develop that product, I contracted a Nobel Prize winner, and we developed a $1 billion product to enable a $15 billion project. I don't know if we can talk about this. I suffered a suicide attempt, and while the doctors recommended I stay on medication, I resisted and developed a method to disrupt the second suicide attempt. I'm writing a book on that method.
Very interesting.
And that sounds, just to bring in, that sounds more non-fiction-y, you know, like I know your project kind of toes the line between the two, but I like it how you're doing
No,
it
it was good.
Thank you.
We have the
Alright,
person
so-
behind the camera.
Person behind the camera. All right, I write under the pen name Shannon Tierney. I write zombie comedy and other infectious nonsense. Now I've got to think of 2 things that are interesting about me, that are pertinent to what I write, because I feel like I'm an awesome person. But my mom likes me.
Go on.
Oh man. The first time that I ever remember teaching anybody about violence and fear was when I hosted a workshop where we strung up a pig and I showed people what it actually felt like to stab somebody.
That is very unexpected,
Yeah,
and also makes you an expert.
it does. I gotta find a better way to say that, because you can't just come to like speed dating and be like, I cut up a pig in front of people.
Didn't we all do that in biology?
Oh, that's true. That's true.
I never did.
Yeah.
All right.
You're not gonna? Okay.
All right. Well, as we see, we are a very eclectic group. And there's little things about us that stand out. Now, let me tell you what's unexpected about me. I played college rugby.
What?
College rugby.
Yeah.
I can see it.
That's my unexpected.
With the boys?
No.
No.
With the girls.
What year did they allow women?
It was a club. We just had a club team, and we played other college club teams.
Really? What year though?
This would have been in the mid-'80s.
So you were strumming around?
Lots of fun.
I helped pass the law so that you could do that.
There you go. And then what makes me an expert at writing is that I have been a professor of literature. I have a graduate degree in literature. I do my own writing. I do a lot of editing, critiquing. So it's all putting these things into play. Now, I have provided, and I'm not going to read them to you. You can read them for yourself. But I have provided all these bios for you. And we'll just start with a few because they are somewhat interesting. So this was the 2019 Pulitzer Prize winner for Overstory. Now his bio is 55 words, and it starts with Richard Power is the author of 12 novels. So his expertise is that he's an author of 12 novels. His most recent, The Overstory, won the Pulitzer Prize in fiction. Now, that's a pretty big name drop. He is also the recipient of the MacArthur Fellowship and the National Book Awards, and he has been a 4-time National Book Critics Circle Award finalist. He lives in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. Somewhat bland, very informative, and I feel very safe with his book, right? Feels like it's going to be a safe book. The next one I think is interesting. So these are all from Amazon, and I just lifted them straight from Amazon. I want you to notice that he starts with a bold. He's bolded his name. I like that. Because what does our eye do? Our eye decides what it likes and what it sees before our brain even realizes that we've seen something. So by the time our brain processes, we see Sam Cass. And he goes on and he lists his credentials, where he's graduated from, and who he's cooked with. That's fabulous. And then we have a Hugo Award. And she does the same thing. Now, again, these are all safe bios. This is on Amazon. So in Amazon, you want something a little bit safer, but you also want something interesting and something that will show how you are an expert. Because people need to trust that you are the expert for the book they're about to buy. Even if it's free, they're still going to spend time with you, and they want to know that that time is valuable. So don't waste their time. That's what they're looking for. Now, I also looked at blogs. Writers should have a blog of some sort. We need a presence somewhere. Your time to start a blog, if you haven't already, is right now.
No, I started.
You've started a few years ago. So you start to build a following. Even if you don't have much on there, those little tag words, like I won't put a story on my blog for 9 months, and every single day I have people looking at my blog. Why? I don't know. But there's lots of stories out there. And maybe someone will enjoy what they see, maybe they won't. But it continues to build that following. So I actually have people that follow me, which is always also kind of interesting. Now, I went to some top blogists and I pulled their bios. So if you know Jeff Goins, who's a big shot with some self-help books, and he's written a lot of things. And this is what his says about Jeff Goins. I'm the best-selling author of 5 books, including The Art of Work, Real Artists Don't Starve. On this blog, I share my thoughts on writing, life, and creative work. So right now, we know what we're about to get into. We all have a creative gift we're sharing with the world, and that is our art. So right now, he's kind of telling you how we are common, why we're going to get along. I want you to also notice that this is 130 words, so it's a little bit longer than what we've been reading for the bios on Amazon. Here's the thing. He's using a very informal voice. Here's the thing. You don't have to starve to share your best work. So right now I'm like, really? If you have a passion for creativity and changing the world, this is the place for you. I invite you to subscribe and sit tight. This is going to be fun. So he's brought us into this little world of his with his style. Now, I imagine that continuing on, everything is going to be written much like this. Jonathan Mayberry.
That's important, right, though?
It is important.
That last thing, like how you intend to write your bio, it's got to match how you're writing.
It's got to match how you're going to write, and it's got to match your personality.
Yeah. Or at least what you've written in the book.
Wow, it's right, or blog. So now we're doing blogs, but yes, you are correct. You need to tailor it to the... So Jonathan Mayberry, his is 73 words plus 1,448 additional words that I did not bother copying and pasting, because that is a whole 2.5 pages more. That's a lot of words. I'm sorry. I might like him very much, but I am not going to read an entire essay on who he is and what he has done.
Right.
You need to get to the punch, and you need to do it fast. If you don't, you're going to lose your audience just because they're not going to be interested in reading your bio.
You put 15,000 words in your Facebook bio.
That's a lot of words. Then we move down to J.K. Rowling. Now we're at Twitter here. Oh, I'm sorry. That was his. Am I out of order?
No, you're fine. You're on 3.
Okay. Now we're on Twitter. So that was Mayberry's Facebook page. I am out of order though, so I have I got myself out of order. The pages are out of order. Hey, no big deal then. We're all good. We're all good. You know what? It's one of those days. Today is a good day to have a good day.
Right to done.
All right, so Jonathan Mayberry. Now, that was on Facebook. On Facebook, we do not need 1,500 words to explain who you are. J.K. Rowling on Twitter. J.K. Rowling, writer, sometimes known as Robert Gilbert.
Oh,
That's all she says. Now, Twitter, you only have 140 characters to get your message across. Jennifer Irwin on Twitter. Hashtag author of the multi-award-winning hashtag bestseller, hashtag novel, A Dress the Color of the Sky, 119 reviews, 4.8 stars, rep by, and then she has their ats. Now, her bio in Twitter is also including links and hashtag connections. So we've talked about hashtags before, but hashtags are searchable. So I have a puppy, many of you know this, and I've started doing hashtag dogs of Instagram because it's kind of funny. Then she shows up on dogs of Instagram, anyone that types that in there. She's really cute, by the way. All right, Instagram, speaking of Instagram, so Shannon Bell, part of a hashtag Writers of Instagram community, mom, wife, Florida Christian, and lover of things that go bump in the night. What type of things do we think she writes?
Bumpy things.
Things that go bump in the night, right. So something like horror or vampires, right? Things that are the night creatures. John Gordon. Now, I want you to notice the symbols that he's used. Positive strategies for life and work. Top speaker, best-selling author, 20 books, including The Energy Bus and Power of Positive Leadership. Links. And he's got an arrow asking you to point to the link that would be below. All right, now, because I'm all out of order here, we're just going to skip some of those other ones because we don't need to really talk about them. You can look at those other ones on your own. But what we need to write our own very best bios. We need to sit down and really think about why we are the authority of our topic. Why do we know? Why do we have the expertise? Why should someone trust us? Trust is very important. So why are you the expert? Why should your audience care? You are a vampire. What makes you stand out from the rest? You are a vampirologist. What achievements or skill level might you have? You won Miss Vampire 2019. That makes you a vampire expert. What is unusual about you? Now, I asked you what was something unexpected when we went through our introductions. This, what you've mentioned earlier, may or may not be relevant to what you want in the bio, but it gets you thinking about what is unusual, what is unexpected, what's clever, without going too far away from our actual content. So this is where we make it personal. So have you won an unusual award? Do you have an unusual hobby, or do you have an unusual relationship? And I added, you are the underwater basket weaving champion. You underwater basket weaving, that is unusual. And then you're also the spouse of Neptune. Name dropping, again, it's not necessarily a bad thing. And then expertise, what have you done before? So the books you've written before, blogs, magazine articles, this is the time you show off. Name drop, again, one or two that's been successful, something that's been received high praise and a lot of reviews, that sort of thing. And then again, name dropping. Have you been compared to someone famous? Do you have a certain esque to it? So you're Ray Berry-esque. Or is your audience reminded of a particular style, the 1915s dystopian fiction? Or has someone famous mentioned you? According to Margaret Atwood, and then you know, if she's actually mentioned you in something, wow, definitely use it. But here's the part we really want to know about. The part we really want to know about is how we do it. the nitty gritty, right? No more than 200 words. We looked at Jonathan Mayberry. Seriously, 1,500 words is a little over the top.
That's why this takes so long. You really have to give yourself time to do it.
Well, and he's probably outsourced it. And it's probably every single one that's ever been in there, and they just keep adding and adding and adding and adding. But you'll need different lengths and different styles for different modes that you're going to be publishing it in. Again, your Amazon book or your published book will be different than your Twitter account, then your Instagram account, then your Facebook account. Now, mine don't vary that much, but they vary a little bit depending on length and audience, because we'll have different audiences in different places. Provide links. So if you can, provide a link. All right, write in third person. Why? Because this is how it's done. It's also easier to write in third person. It doesn't feel so much like bragging. But also, the audience doesn't know you. And it's as if you're being introduced to them by a third person. When you go to a dinner party and you're with a friend, your friend will say, hi, I'd like you to meet John. John, this is Susie. And then you'll have a discussion. So it's that third person introduction. So when you've written in third person, it does feel like someone else is doing the introduction. And use active voice. Why? Because that's what's done. But you are also currently writing. Now, if you were Benjamin Franklin and you're no longer around, it might say Benjamin Franklin was a signer of the Declaration and the inventor of the bifocals. He's no longer doing that.
That's a good one, actually. Yeah, this is John. He's an engineer. I met him at this thing, and the reason why he's relevant to you is because he's interested in fishing, like you are.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
All right. Ask friends for feedback. So we all sit here and go, I don't know what I should put down. So ask friends, what am I good at? Why am I the person to write this book? Because again, we're all slightly embarrassed to be considered bragging on ourselves. So sometimes it's easier to say to someone, so why do you think I should write stories about stories? Why do you think? Why would I do that? And then you can give me an opinion. And then you can ask someone else, and you can ask someone else, and you can ask more people. So the more people you get, the more feedback you get, the easier it is to pick out those select words. Because again, we only have 200 max. I don't want you to go over 200. Nobody reads more than that. Let's face it. Why bother wasting the page if they're not going to read that much? If they do read that much, that's great. But chances are they're not. They're just going to skim it. They're going to catch the few keywords that they notice, and they're going to move on. Don't be afraid to show your personality. It's okay to brag. This is actually a place to brag. Consider this your own personal brag board. And then please, 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 make sure you have grammar and spelling checked. Please, please, I beg of you, have someone proofread it, go through your Grammarly, use your automated grammar and spell check. I have one more request that I've not included on here, is to go back every year and review your bio. If it's printed, that's one thing, because it's already on the book and the book is gone. And if it's no longer in print, it's there forever. But you might change. So I'll read my bio, and I'll tell you how mine is going to be changing. Alison Nissen is a writer who does daily battle with dog hair and laundry. She is the co-founder of Rebel Coach, an inspiration platform, the president of the Florida Writers Association, and the author of the 2016 RPLA Unpublished Memoir of the Year, Resolve, Courage, Hope. Follow her Tales from the Laundry Room at AlisonNissen.com. Now, I'm not always going to be president of the Florida Writers Association. So if I were to keep this here and never go back and look at it again, people would think I am the president in perpetuity, which I'm not. Rebel Coach is new. So my old bio used to say that I was a full-service publishing company.
Yeah.
Because I did ghostwriting, editing, a whole bunch of other stuff. And my company's name was 3 Dog Tales. All right. So you can see the 3 Dog Tales and Tales from the Laundry Room, which is why I have in the very beginning that I am a writer who does daily battle with dog hair and laundry. So that fit into my narrative. I think it's cute. I'm going to keep it because I like it. It makes me happy. It also, I think, makes me approachable. But it still does fit with the Tales from the Laundry Room. So now you...
T-A-L-E-S?
It is. T-A-L-E-S, Tales from the Laundry Room. Right, and Three Dog Tales was with T-A-L-E-S. And I had never finished it, but I wanted to have Three Dog Tales Radio and do a podcast called Three Dog Tales Radio. I like the whole name. I like the whole thing. And I think I'm letting the website go because now I have Rebel Coach, and you just can only hold on to so much.
Right.
But again, Rebel Coach is new.
Start the podcast and then sell it.
There you go.
You got the rights already.
There you go. Now it's your turn. Sean has already gotten some of his own.
But let me background this as well, which is very interesting. I really tried to find one of my old ones, which was working in art. And you wrote a very different one, let's say, for that, you know? It's more about listing. And in the same way that sometimes you'll hear people talk about patents or trademarks, you know? Sometimes it doesn't matter the quality of it, it matters the quantity. And so an art bio will end up being this long. Selections, of course, you're only putting out the best galleries you've shown at, the best articles that have been written about you, the best articles that you have written. But you are trying to bulk that up as much as possible. And that is very different from what you're describing here, especially in the case of the online Amazon. It's absolutely.
Well, and this is author bio. However, I will challenge you on that one. That's where you have a link. For more, see all my. So, for example, I have. If you were to go to my website, you'll see my little bio, and then you'll have links to more. And then at that point, you can go see all the works I've written or edited and published, those sort of things. And so it has a link to more. We can do that now pretty easily. I agree, in the past, you wanted to show it all. It's also different if someone's going to introduce you, if you're going to be speaking somewhere and they're giving the bio and they're standing up to read it. Again, it should only be like 30 seconds to a minute, or you're going to lose your audience. If you're doing a bio, though, you really don't want it to be a resume. The resume is to be put somewhere else. The bio is the first thing that brings them in, and then you have, for more reading, somewhere else. I think that's a little bit what Jonathan Mayberry's is like for additional reading, but it's all right there, and it doesn't stop. And if you actually go to his website, I believe it's the same thing. So it's, I think that is, I don't think that serves him well as far as a bio goes. Now, he's Jonathan Mayberry. He can do what he wants. He's very successful. He's had TV shows.
I was going to say, my guess is that he really likes it, and you're never supposed to get people to leave the buy site as an author if you can help it. Like if you're somewhere else and you can have see more over here. But he's like, no, I want him to know everything about me because I'm Jonathan F. Mayberry.
All right, so what I'd like to do is, so Sean brought his homework, and none of you were asked to bring homework, but Sean brought some homework where he actually worked on some of his own bios. But I would like to take this opportunity to discuss what you think you would put in or leave out of your bio. Let's open this up now, as this is not all about Alison.
The one that we already gave.
Well, no, what you gave was an introduction. But how would you, what would you put?
It was an elevator pitch.
Well, in an
I was
elevator
timing
pitch.
myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you did a very good job.
Are you sure? I didn't go. Okay. Yeah. I didn't want them running off the elevator or pushing the emergency button to get away from me.
But what I would say was
I
with
see
yours,
dead
with yours, you said you were an expert as a court.
I didn't use, okay, what I was trained, don't use the word expert, don't use the word best-selling, don't use those qualifiers without breaking them down. So instead of saying I'm an expert, I started with, for 40 years I have been. And age what, okay? So if you've been doing something for 40 years, and then I threw in some of the more colorful locations and places.
But see, to me, I don't know what that means.
But you knew that it was for 40 years, you said, okay.
Okay, I got 40 years.
Yeah.
And then you listed all these things, and it would be under oath, but I didn't quite understand what it was. And
Yeah.
so that's where you need, when you're working with your bio, you have to go, okay, wait, will the audience really understand what I'm discussing.
That's right, you have to focus on your audience.
And so, right, remember, it's about them. It's always about the audience.
Red understood me, didn't you, Red?
Only the parts I could hear.
Okay.
All right, so what would you do differently? I actually really like what you just said, that 40 years does prove that you're an expert without using the word expert. Because expert is vague, right? I'm an expert because, I've lived in Houston for 6 months.
Now, are we drifting over into a 30-second pitch right now? Is that what?
What
Yeah, that's my question.
I don't really
I'm
want
shocked I forgot.
to. I don't really want to do a pitch. What I want to do is help you all write your bios.
Then start back there again.
Has to be.
You're a
Pitch
stickler
has
on
to be
details.
separate from a bio.
A pitch is separate from a
It's not
bio.
just sales, but your freedom is
Especially
at
in
stake.
elevator.
Yeah, I am.
A pitch has got to be.
Go to
And,
jail if I'm
Your freedom
if I'm
is at
wrong.
stake, not just sales.
but I don't understand why. I missed the
I
whole
know,
part
so
about
you
what
will
you're.
press the link for more.
No, I would be like, I don't get it, and I'd move on. That's right. That's what you don't
You
want.
didn't set the hook.
Go down there.
We have
I'm feeling picked on.
an elevator, 3 floors. You have 3 floors. That's it. This is not a long elevator
Now,
ride.
I will tell you that one thing that I have, I wrote it down on another piece of paper. And I didn't bring it with me, but it's, I help X achieve Y so they can do Z. And that's your elevator pitch. Pretty much.
I've changed mine around a lot in the last probably 30 days,
But you're,
and it has nothing to do with that.
and we're talking, are we talking elevator pitch? Are we talking bios? So let's focus on our bios.
Bio.
Okay.
But let's focus on the bios.
Okay.
It's
And-
unusual medium because you're saying your bio, but what we want is what you'd have written there for a reader to come check you out before they buy the book when they're making their decision to or not to.
And that's the bio
So-
that's on Amazon, not on
Let's-
the back of the book, not blurred.
Well, typically if it's going to be the same.
Okay.
So here are the bios for 3 different people. And this is Haiku in English, the first 100 years.
And everybody's running to buy that.
Right. Jim is the founder of the Haiku Foundation.
Okay, boom.
Chuck Wendig, and let me say this about bios, because you talked about where you hear about people and stuff like that, and why you pick things up. When you're talking about it, I picked that up, and that's the 3rd book of his that I've read. In a way, because I know I'm on Twitter for being liked by my friends. And so I clicked on him but never followed him, but I find him witty in that. When I'm looking in the library for an author with a similar last name, I know that last name, and so I pick it up, read the opening copy, which is essentially the pitch or the book cover thing, and I was sold like on that first one. The second one I read completely different. Third one, completely different pitch all over again, but how I got introduced, like you said, that 140 word bio, is an important thing to develop on Twitter or, Facebook or whatever. That's actually how I got introduced to him.
Right.
On point, counterpoint.
Okay.
Okay. I've never heard of him. I would be, no, but wait a minute. I'm the kind of person that goes through books no matter what they are, and I read the bio to find out more about what is in there. So I'm really judging it. I didn't read, he said he was the author of a certain series. I'd never heard of the series, okay? But, so I scanned the rest of it to see what has happened with this guy's writing, to see that it's really full. He's an Emmy Award winning, he's got Emmy Award winning material. I'm like, okay, that's it. That and a couple other prizes. I knew the prizes, I didn't know his name. So I think
So
that,
that's what hits you.
So
that's
it's
something
the
else
it's
hits
the
me.
bragging.
Absolutely.
Right.
We're talking
would
about
I buy
all-
it? Yes, I would buy it. I would buy it.
But that's your social proof right there. Other people like me enough that I've won an Emmy. Other people like me enough that I've won these prestigious awards.
Right.
Whereas the people who, maybe more along Sean's lines, they're like, oh, what about this? I know, I've heard of this. I've heard of this before. Okay, yeah, you're the guy that wrote the thing that my friends like. So it works on all those different levels at the same time.
And I think when you're talking about a book that's in a bookstore, in the library, or on a coffee table, that you can't recognize the name and you can't recognize the cover or the name of the author, you do have to go somewhere to get the hook, you know. So that's why the bio is so important.
So we pick up a book. If we're at the library or the bookstore, or if we're on Amazon, we actually look at the cover, right? We look at the cover and we click see what's inside. It gives us a little bit of a summary, right? If you're on Amazon, you scroll down. I always scroll down. I hate that they have these others recommended for you in there. That is very distracting. I go down, I keep reading until I get to the summary. Then I see the author bio, and then I see where it has the reviews. So reviews are very important as well. But we're not talking about reviews right now. We're talking about the bio. So as people are scanning down, so if you have the book, you look here, you look here, you look here, then you look here inside, right? Now some people might do it in a slightly different order, but typically it's like we look here, you know, we go there.
And if you stop anywhere along the way, none of the rest of that stuff is looked at.
Right, I mean if you go like this and you're like,
I like this book. I had some edit it, but I did not write this. But I like it because at the top is a comment from Pat Conroy, who is, you know, the Barbara Streisand, Chris Christopherson movie. I can't even think of the name of it right now. But anyway, he went to the Citadel and stuff, and he's a big name writer. He's now passed away. And then on here, it mentions the Kirkus Review, which is one of the top reviews that. And then just inside, it shows her picture and says that she's had 50 years waiting to write this book. That's what I was pointing out. 50 years.
Age.
Arthur Angela Lewis has been waiting to tell this story for 50 years. And
That's a good book.
That's a good book. So you automatically
You've been writing the
see
story for 50 years?
no, waiting.
waiting to write it for 50 years. And then it also says the help becomes family, because that movie, The Help, this is the real true story of what it's like to be in a family like that. So people will pick up this book, and she's done hundreds, literally, of presentations and stuff. People call her all the time. So I just thought, okay, here's the review. Here's Pat Conroy's name. Then she has some people on the back of saying this is great. And then she has her picture, and she taught at the Citadel. She was in charge of the writing program for the Citadel for years. And so,
One thing that would be really great, we've got tons of people that teach the elevator pitch. I teach it. But how about the book lists? You know, like speed dating? We could have books on the table and everybody go around and have what, a minute? How long do you think? to
No,
look
no,
up
no,
on-
no, not a minute. That's too
Not
long.
even a minute.
I would say 20 seconds.
20 seconds to either pick up the book and decide they're going to buy it and why. You know, and we go around
That
the
would be
table.
a very interesting
We could do that exercise
exercise.
here.
Yep, we
There
could.
you go, program.
Are we still on bios?
Yes, we are still on bios.
Look at this guy.
Now, I was gonna say, there you go.
40 words.
All right, let's hear it.
All right, I'm getting comfortable.
Okay. Put your feet up.
I'm ready.
Doctors ought to treat causes, not symptoms.
Say it again because you have an accent, sir.
Doctors ought to treat causes, not symptoms.
Yes.
Red O'Loughlin researches the human body at the cellular level, biochemically speaking, looking for cause and effect relationships. He has published 5 books and speaks on health and wellness, specializing in longevity. RedO'Loughlin.com.
3 sentences, heck yeah.
I liked it. I don't like the biochemically speaking.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, I've heard him say in introduction a lot, and that becomes a tagline. Right? Am I right?
But I don't know if you want
Who's your
that tagline on.
It brings it up a level.
No,
As far as the complexity.
I would say something
of the
like
statement.
by researching biochemical reactions in the body. It's the word speaking that I don't like. Biochemically speaking.
Yeah, you're going
It's-
to lose the grammarian.
It's a little colloquial. It's a little slangy. It's a little. That's my 2C. You can take my 2C or you can toss it. It's not worth that much.
I write for people who really want to do something with their health.
Right. He has a particular market.
There's nothing wrong with that line.
Yeah.
That's it.
Usually when you get a person to break down, relax, give them a drink, whatever, infuse them with drugs, they will come out and say something like that, and I think that line
Yeah.
really,
If your market understands that language, then that's the language.
that's right.
It depends on the language that the market you're appealing to. Well, it makes it relatable.
Very esoteric. It's like
Academic almost.
Yeah.
Yes.
My stuff's
Where,
academic.
when you said that, it's
And that's your audience.
That's my audience. That's my audience, unfortunately.
And biochemically speaking means you can turn something complex into something simple language.
That's exactly
And
what
that's
I do.
perhaps
If
what
you
people.
want to
All I hear is biochemically speaking sounds complicated.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk biochemical.
I don't want.
I don't want to speak
You're not
biochemical.
my audience.
And yet,
But it
but
sounds
yet
like-
I might.
But he sounds like he's trying to sell himself as an expert with degrees and PhDs. I imagine.
Well,
All right,
he
so-
does. We do have to. You've got to have an expertise.
So what, did you say your expertise in there?
Yes.
It was inferred by biochemically speaking.
No.
By the research.
You need to be, you need to say, this is the time to brag. I have 5 degrees. Who cares if they're not all in biochemistry? I mean,
So we've got other people around the table, some of us a little bit older, some of us not, but maybe interested in health. What would you be interested in? If you've met Red or you know Red or you've seen his books before, what would you want to know about him coming in that would say, yes, I would buy this book?
will it make me feel the best I can feel?
No, it's going to make you live a long time. It's longevity. His
I-
message is longevity.
So that's something that breaks it down to that.
But with background, with expertise. Because longevity,
No,
man,
she's just
there's
asking
space
if it makes.
creams out
Well,
there.
yeah, she's asking.
I want to hear that. I like the you said at the cellular level, and that got me, by the way. I like cellular level. That tells me,
I can leave
he's got to know his
biochemically,
stuff.
I
to
can
do
leave
that.
biochemically speaking out. It's not, that's just something I use a lot.
I wouldn't because grammatically incorrect. Am I right?
And again, I am not an expert. I've just written several. That makes me an expert. That makes me an expert.
On
but
TV.
on TV, yes, I play a doctor on TV. I think that it depends on who. What does your audience look like? Is everyone at this table your audience, or only?
Yes, yes, maybe, yes,
He's a yes. You're a yes.
no, no,
He's a yes.
maybe.
Maybe. And he was. What was
And
he?
why? Why am I a
What
maybe?
was he? You're a no.
Why am I a maybe?
Most of my audience, from at least my introduction, are over 50,
Okay, I'm over 50.
female, empty nesters,
Oh,
and their parents are in poor health.
I would be your perfect.
So,
No, I'm just saying, that is my typical audience,
That would be me.
okay?
I am
It's-
over
I don't
50.
know
I'm
you.
an empty nester. I have a parent in poor health. I am a woman. Was I miss one?
That you just described me.
Okay.
I had 2 parents.
But
You look
but
so
what I
much
want to
younger.
know is how I will it give me easy to follow recipes? Will it give me simple tips and tricks that I can apply in my hectic everyday rushed world? I'm not okay. I want to know that.
Yes.
I want to know how Red breaks down the biochemical into everyday plain language.
at the cellular level.
Everyday plain language
And
so
you're a
that
best-selling author.
you can live your best life in this hectic everyday crazy world. I don't know, something.
Well, okay, so you wanted to tell you that it has simple steps for how to live and then things to cook, right? Menu items, things like that.
I don't know that the bio would need that. Would the bio need that?
Okay.
Okay. I'm just going. I'm just
We've developed a whole other subject, which
I'm-
is pick
I'm-
your audience, know your audience.
well, knowing your audience is extremely important.
Huge, yes, huge.
Because if you ever say my audience is everyone, you're out. Boom.
All right,
That's
so-
strikeout. You don't even get a second turn at bat. Sorry.
So I just grabbed this and then while you were talking, did exactly that, which was I have one audience is arts professionals. It's a grant application. One that is the bio on NaNoWriMo, and so the audience is other authors. So I don't need to mention that I'm
Not even other authors who are willing to take the challenge of NaNoWriMo.
Yeah. So beginning writer. And then the other one is a short story submission bio. So the audience is a reader of a magazine.
No, actually, if it's a submission, it's the editor.
It is the editor as well, but the thing is they're going to put so much more weight on the
So this is what will go
Oh,
along with
when
it.
you said submission.
Yeah. You said
But
submission.
he's right.
Yeah,
because
you're
I was
right.
going to bring that up. Every time I have to submit a short story to a new publication, I go to my Word file and I have like 12 different, depending on the word count, depending on the audience, because we think it's going to go to the reader, but you're really letting the editor see it first. And it's every time we submit short stories to literary publications, we have to write a bio. And it's usually like one sentence, two sentences. It's horrible. They're mean. They're just mean.
All right, but let me put a caveat on that, which is
They're supposed to be mean.
an editor is going to potentially read it, but as opposed to the one where I said the audience is arts professionals because it's a grant submission.
Yes.
It's a grant submission. The only people who are going to see it are the admin and the people who are deciding.
And they want to know why you are an expert.
Yes.
They really want to know why you're the expert.
Yeah, why they're going to give you money.
Oh my!
They don't
God,
want the
but
good
but the
feeling,
second
friendly-
one, the editor for a short story submission is going to read it with an eye towards
Their audience.
their audience. Yes, excellent.
There is truth in that. So the editors will read it as if they are their ideal audience, right? Because that's what they're
And
doing.
they also
Or
don't
they'll
want
Because you're
your-
not trying to impress them, you're trying to make it look good to who they want to put it out to.
And yeah, that's right. They don't want your bio to start with "I murdered 6 people last week."
Unless you were
Well,
writing from prison and it's,
This
you
is
know.
my expertise.
Okay, going back though, did we actually give Rev all the advice that we feel like he needs to get us as an audience, as he's writing books and not magazine articles or short stories? Do you think we hit up on the things that he needs to tell his readers in his bio in order for them to be like, yes, from on this side of the table and yes, on that side of the table too?
Do you feel like we?
That's a good feedback, yes.
Okay.
Is it everything, probably 50-60%, but it's a damn good start. Great new topic. I asked Shannon if she would speak next year at the Nonfiction Authors Association. Based on what you're going over today, I think this would be an excellent topic also, if you would be available to speak.
I accept your challenge.
And I raise it $5.
As we have, because there's been several good speakers we've had here, and one of the things that I see is we don't really get into the nitty gritty of how do we do things as an author. And that's what I really like about this group, is we do get down into some of those details that we don't think about all the time.
And a lot of times we just either read the article that comes our way on Reader's Digest or we see the YouTube video, but actually talking it through is a different experience.
It is.
And it helps us refine the thoughts in our head, because the thoughts in our head are one thing, but when we actually start to work on it, put it on paper, it's a whole other thing.
I spent 3 days this last weekend, and one of the comments was on the book. 3 to 5 seconds on the front, 22 seconds on the back, and that's it. You don't capture them there, they're not going to the table of contents.
25 seconds.
Okay, we should do this.
Speed booking.
Speed booking.
Speed booking. We bring a whole bunch of books in, we line them up, and we all take 25 seconds, and we set a timer.
Walk around.
And we
the
get
table.
25 seconds.
No crayons.
And then at the end we sit down and we write down why we would buy it or not buy it, based on that 25 seconds.
All right, I just want to logistically throw into this. So basically, this is what I would say, really both for people's memories and to judge them as a group, whatever, would be, like have a little jar next to it. You have pennies or something.
I like that.
I like this one. I don't
Oh,
like
no,
this one.
that
So
will
you-
influence me.
No. So you
No.
get it. No.
It's
not,
immediate
it
feedback.
can be a black cup, so you don't see how many is in
Okay,
there.
I don't
But
wanna-
the deal is, you just are at the end seeing
or better
Four
yet,
out
you
of
have
six
like
liked it.
pennies,
0 out of
pennies,
6.
nickels, and dimes or something. So like a penny is I don't like it, a nickel is it's okay, and a dime is I love it.
I just look at straight
And
up
nobody
like,
will know what you're putting in.
because if you write something, it's going to be
All they hear is
nuanced,
a clink.
but it's
You'll
just a
hear
yes
a
or
large
no.
clink if there's a lot of. It may not reach.
We'll put cotton in there.
And everybody
Well, you
bring
can
a
just
book,
write it
and then put it through the Bible.
Okay,
idea.
there you go.
might not-
Instead of a coin,
In English.
or
No, they will.
how about this? How about this? We use Skittles.
When can we do this?
Red for
Have we got any openings?
We're pretty booked
Good.
up until
December.
November. I think we have stuff, but I'm not sure. It
December,
might be
yeah.
December.
We could do it as our holiday
Christmas.
event.
Because then it's chill, yeah.
That would be fun.
that would be
Yeah.
fun.
And then we got M&M's for it, right? You know,
Yeah.
like holiday colors.
There you go. Red.
Oh, stop it.
Whoever's
keep
booked,
going
they get
in
to
a
eat all
psychological-
the
Yeah.
This is your motivation to pick a good one.
With the fingerprints on.
Very good. Very
But
good.
one caveat: if you do not have a book that is in print, bring a book that you like or that is similar to yours.
Oh, I thought that's what
Oh,
we were
I
doing.
don't want you seeing my books. You
Oh,
want
okay.
to-
I thought you were talking about bringing your own. Okay,
No,
my
no.
apologies. My
Yeah,
apologies. My brain is scattered.
I'd have to
So,
spend money to
I
rent to
thought
buy
what you
mine.
thought.
I mean,
I'm
seriously.
listening to every word.
I have a question.
Yeah, that'll be our
And
Christmas.
this is how do you write a bio? Like, for instance, I am not an expert writer.
Right.
Okay,
I'm the same as you.
but
I'm not,
you are an expert storyteller.
We all
but
Yeah,
I
but we've
don't
got no.
have
So some of us
This-
don't have any.
or
You don't need the credentials. Okay? You don't need the credentials. As a writer, you don't need the credentials. You just need
But if you don't have the credentials, your bio's not going to do it. I have my bio.
I know,
and
that's
it's,
what I was thinking.
But that's
you
fine.
know, about the bio that I put for a story I didn't even contact.
Sylvia has been telling stories for 20 years.
are. Some of them true.
20 some of them true. I mean,
Sylvia, I had to do a flash fiction piece under 1,000 words, and I picked a piece about a very strange thing, mowing the lawn in 95-degree heat in Houston, but I turned it
Naked?
into mowing the lawn in 95-degree heat. We've all been there. But the person who is mowing the lawn won the house in a poker game, and while they're mowing, the guy who lost the house is walking out with all of his belongings. Okay? They picked my story, I won, they illustrated it, and they said, you gotta up your bio, you gotta pick it up. So, the first line is, Diane plays a little poker, but she never won a house. So take the crux of your story and play on that.
I think what you just demonstrated though is that your content was really good, and the bio followed the content.
I
right?
hope so. Yes, thank you.
I've got the same problem as I've got no background in the subject, but that means that my content has to be really good. So I can't rely on my bio.
doesn't sound to me like you don't have it.
No,
You have
you have
huge.
credentials.
The,
No,
you're
I'm confident with what I'm doing, but my bio, I'll tell you what my bio says. It says, I'm Rob, I'm an engineer. I have no qualifications in psychiatry, psychology, medicine.
but that's not what I propose is that's not true. You've lived your experience.
No, I totally understand that, but my bio has no weight. All my weight is in the content. So what I'm saying to
All right, this is my opinion on that. When your bio has no authority,
authority, yeah.
then you play on what would attract the readers. Why would the readers trust you?
Your theory.
No, I'm fine with it. I'm just saying that I agree with what she's saying.
Oh, yes.
When your content is really
Yes.
good, you use the content to build a bio, which is what I'm doing. I talk
Right.
about what I went through. But I don't have any credentials.
But you don't need any. That's what I'm trying to say.
I agree.
We're on the same page.
I'm just trying to answer her question. No, I agree, and I'm answering her question with her answer.
Yeah,
But I
which is,
think
Yeah.
there's a difference.
Use
She's
the
talking
content.
fiction.
Well, and
My
not,
example was fiction.
I'm just saying if you
Yours
don't,
is
if you don't have any
nonfiction,
credentials,
right?
you have to use the content for the
she's
bio,
actually
which is what you said.
she actually writes nonfiction stories.
1 billion to the 15 billion.
I can't. My book's about self-help. It's not about engineering. No, there's no relevance to that. I agree with her, so I agree with you.
Well, that was fiction.
What I'm saying is, I agree with you that you use the content to build the bio.
Yeah, I would if you don't have. Yeah, just
Right.
you want them to read it.
I agree with you. I'm
Like
just
remember
agreeing.
what we all got? We all jumped up with this.
I stand back. I disagree.
No, but we all jumped
No,
up.
I agree with you.
Okay, good.
You don't have to talk to me. I'm
Okay.
supporting you.
I'm afraid I'm
doing
scaring
the same
you.
thing as you for her.
Yeah.
Why, given your experience, personal experience, would you draw from just the content of the book rather than saying, you know, that you climbed from the darkness of XYZ and these things happened and now let me share with you how I struggled or made my way out. To me, that's a more powerful bio.
It may be powerful for you.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, but for me, the self-help method that I have actually has nothing to do with your story. You don't need it, but I don't even talk about it. And nobody knows anything about why. And I never even mention it. Because the essence of my method is really simple. And it's really,
So what's your passion? What do you what's your passion? What's your passion?
His method is his passion.
the trouble is I'm a very passionate person, so whatever I do, I get passionate. I mean, oh my God.
Top one. I'm giving
What do you
you.
want to write about? What are you passionate about letting people know?
About this method
What?
of self-healing.
Rather than committing
Now you
suicide.
haven't said that before. I like that. I like self-healing. See?
I don't get what we're talking about.
You get it?
Three people. So it's his question in, but and it's obvious when you read the bio. Yeah, I haven't talked about it, but I'm just saying that I don't have any credentials. I agree with you. It's support her question. That's all I'm saying.
You know the guy who wrote Man Search for Meaning,
He's
right?
still an engineer.
Yes.
What were
I
his
know.
credentials?
I'm
He's a
married to one.
psychologist.
But his real credentials weren't that he was a psychologist.
Well, if you read it, it says I'm a psychologist.
Sure, but that wasn't, I mean,
I totally understand, but I don't have that credential.
I guess what I'm saying is the basis for reading it.
I agree with you. I agree with you. The basis for reading my
That's
book
true.
is when you read the first paragraph, the introduction, you're gonna be like, "Fuck me, this guy knows what he's talking about." The weight of my book is not in the bio; it's in the content.
Yes.
Like she was saying, and I'm agreeing with her.
But you gotta get people to the content.
That's
Wait a
fine.
minute, wait a minute. I've figured out what your audience is too, and your audience is going to like just the way you explain.
No, I understand that. No,
No, I'm
you I agree with you.
complimenting you.
Oh, I don't need compliments.
I'm
I don't
complimenting
need
you,
compliments.
and I will start each statement to you with that codicil.
And both people in his audience are here.
There's more out there. There's quite a few.
No, I'm totally complimenting
My
the book.
All
father
right,
would
so
love to read.
I would like to stop right now and say, if I went back to my own bio and had I not won an award,
Yes.
there's things I could say, oh, I've been a professor of literature. None of that matters. I could simply just say, I'm a writer who does daily battle with dog hair and laundry, read my tales from the laundry room. And you know what? That pretty much says all you need to know, is that I'm a writer, I have my daily chores just like everybody else, and it's probably going to be lighthearted, fun stuff. Right? I mean, at least that's what I hope that would portray. And that, right, the message that I'm trying to get across is that it's going to be on the light side. It's going to be something like Tales from the Wild. Like, I'm sitting there, I imagine that I'm folding laundry and you and I are chit-chatting at a kitchen table, you know, drinking a cup of coffee. Like, that's the type of stories that I'm going to have in my Tales from the Laundry Room.
Then the little limp man pops out.
The little lint man pops out and he runs off with some things, and you know that's why the sock is missing, by the way.
That's
Tales from
you
the
don't
dog
clap
side.
in your meeting.
Tales from the dog side, exactly.
Did we finish?
Sure.
Hey, everybody, let's go ahead and give a round of applause for our presenter who has taken time out of her day to come and talk to us about her expertise. She's led this kind of talk before at the Florida Writers Association conference, if not more, and next year apparently at the Nonfiction Writers Association.
There you go.
One more time for Alison.